This is Rick Passek, the FlyFish Fanatic. Welcome to my time bench. Today we're going to play with another tropical shrimp pattern. Um, I've done actually well with this in the tropical, but I could see that this actually would work for steelhead too. So yeah, it's a good little unweighted pattern. I don't put any bead chain eyes or any dumbbell eyes or anything on this. I want this unweighted. Um, that way I can either control with my fly line descent, like using a sinking line or whatever, or sink tip, or I can fish this in those shallow water situations and just get this, just in that, 6 to 12 inches deep, right? So, alrighty. So, switch her over. So, today in device, we have a Mustad big game size 2 saltwater hook, stainless. I'm going to be using some little green shrimp eyes. You can use the greens, the blacks, oranges, whatever you like. This one I'm just happening to be putting green in. For the tail section, I'm going to be using or the legs, some Semperfli Sili legs in the silver and white. For the dubbing ball in the back to help hold everything out, going to use some Vicuna dubbing and some the Spectra dubbing in the number 141, kind of this kind of a salmon kind of color. And then for the thread, I'm going to be using some NanoSilk white. And then for the main body, for the back section is going to be where are we here? Frenzy fly brush in a 1 inch in white and silver. That's going to be the back section, and then the body is going to be this Spectra dubbing with a little saddle hackle. This is just they call it a nat furnace is the color they call it. So, righty, let's go. Let's play. Let's play. Let's play. Let's play. I love tying these these big tropical shrimp patterns. This is probably about the biggest I would ever go with these is this size. I actually prefer them in a 4, but yeah, just they're fun to tie. So I'll take some of the Vicuna dubbing, and I'm just going to make myself a little bit of a dubbing ball here at the back. So I'm going to take my waxy wax. This is Semperfli wax that I'm using. Just kind of not, I won't say loosely dub it on, but you don't want it a super tight noodle either here, right? Because you want to be able to. This is going to be, like I said, there's going to be the little ball that holds everything up and out, right? So just right in front there. Okay. Now I'm going to take 2 of these size small green shrimp eyes. And since this is going to be riding that way, I want them kind of up that way and about that far out, give or take, because I want these to be sticking just out of the white brush that we're going to be using, that frenzy brush. So make sure these are really tightly wound in there. That's why I really like using these GSP threads, it's NanoSilks. Just get it cranked right in there and then get right up against that ball, right? Because that'll help force those eyes out, right? See how it forces that eye out? So that's one. Now I'll tie one in on your side. And I'm not worried about the length as long as it's too long, because I can always pull it back to the same length about there. And again, crank it down right to that dubbing ball. And that'll force those out a bit. I like kind of giving it a little bit of a helping hand there as well. And then I'll tie this almost all the way forward and back and forward just so they don't slip. Now I'll get my bigger scissors and just nip these off one at a time. I said I enjoy tying these. They're fun. It's one of those little flies, big flies, whatever, that I like just playing with. I just always have. I like doing these. I like doing spay flies, intruders, things like that. Not that I don't like doing chironomids and dragons and all that kind of stuff, but this is just, like I said, it's almost like a guilty pleasure. So now I don't want to use too many of these tails. This is going to be a fairly sparse pattern. So I'm just going to go with 2 here. And I'm just going to hold them on. And just make sure they stay right on top in between those eyes. Because that's where I want them, is right on top in between. So there, okay. Now I'm going to go forward with this just in a really loose open spiral. I want to just get it right up to the front. Again, more of a body consistency than anything else. It doesn't really make much difference. It's all going to be dubbed over anyway, and you're not going to see it. But yeah, I don't want, like I tie some, I don't know if you can go back in my tying videos. I tie a very, very similar to this, but first of all, weighted, and it's got like 8 legs, I think, or 6 legs. I can't remember. But it's a lot more dressed. This is going to be a fairly thinly dressed fly, this one. So now I'm going to take that frenzy brush and right at the back there, I'm just going to tie this in by that center wire, nice and tight, really tight. Crank down on your NanoSilk there. Just make sure that's in nice and tight there. Come forward a bit, and I just want to make sure I stroke this material back as I come forward. I only want 3 wraps. That's it. And I'm going to come back. Even 2 would have done. You don't want it too overly thick in the back there. And you see how those eyes are just sticking past? That's what I want. So now, I put my crappy scissors away. Hopefully, maybe see if I can helicopter this off. Because I'm not using my good Renomed scissors for this. Yeah, there we go. Helicoptered it. So I'm just going to stroke all of that material back and just kind of go over top of it a little bit just to force it backwards. Okay. So now you got your 2 little leggies. This head section, if you want to call it that, just protecting those eyes and stuff. And now I'm going to take the saddle feather here. Just see how long that's going to be. That's a little too long, so I'm just going to come back just a bit there. And then I'll tie this in by the butt section, by the butt here on the side. Make sure it's tied in nicely. Nip off my stem. Just leave that sit there. And now it is all dubbing. I'm going to make sure this has got a good amount of wax on it. Get this Spectra dubbing to hold. Like I said, it's kind of a peachy pink color. There is a pink color right in the same box, right beside it. Like it's a lot more pink. But I kind of want this more peachy salmon kind of color in this one. It's definitely it helps blend more into with the feather, right? If you've got a pinker, if you want to do one that's pink, use a pink saddle hackle. So I'm going to start a little bit thicker back here. A little bit more. I want to taper down to almost nothing here. So slowly I want to taper down. And I know a lot of guys will just add a whole bunch of dubbing at the same time. I prefer to add a little bit at a time. I find I can control it better that way. But you do you, right? Whatever works for how you like tying. So yeah, and this is one of those ones that those flies that you wanna kind of present and get that thing just in that in those. I'm gonna just go back over this. I don't like the taper very well there. Yeah, it's better. Um, you want to present this in that very shallow water. If I was wanting to go into like 2 or 3 feet deep, and I wanted this thing to get that odd puff of sand, which is quite often what you want when you're doing these shrimp type patterns and crab patterns. Um, I would do a dumbbell eye on this, right? Or at least if not a dumbbell eye, the very least I would do a um, bead chain eye just to give it a little bit of extra weight. So now I'm just going to take all this and stroke it back, all this material and stroke it back. I'm going to grab my Hackle plier and just stroke that back. And then I'm going to give it one good turn right at the back. It does look a little freaky at first, just so you know. Full turn, and then now I'm going to open it up and palmer forward. Slipped off with my Hackle plier. Palmer forward, palmer forward, palmer forward. Then tie that hackle off. That back. Ready, and then just give this a quick whip finish. I like doing 4 turn whip finishes. I just like having that head nice and strong. Make sure it doesn't fall apart on you. Okay, looks wonky. I know, not done. So now what I do is I'll take my brush, and I'm just going to brush all those hackle fibers back, but I'm also going to take my Velcro and I'm going to get right in there. And this is doing two things. One, it's taking some of that salmon or light pink or whatever you want to call it material and getting it to come out, um, giving it a bit more sparkle. But it's also softening all those hackles up, so they lay back and train back a little bit better. And there's the finished little shrimpy shrimp. This is like I said, it's quite a bit less dense, like a lot less material in it than some of the other ones I tie. But this one, when this one goes, like I said, I like using this in the shallower waters, and this will just scoot along there, and these little legs will be dangly dangles, right? And it's the nice thing with the Semperfli Sili legs is that real shine they got in them. They got a real that silver shine in them, and it really gives an attractant. But you don't want too many on sometimes. Sometimes having 5, 6, 7 legs, like I don't know if I do have one handy here. I don't know I got a marabou one, but no, I don't have any of the other ones handy that I got kicking around here. But if you put too many of them in, sometimes that'll freak the fish out, right? So, yeah, you just want to. Sometimes you want to go sparse, sometimes you don't. So it just depends. So I like having both. But yeah, this is really good for reds, bones, even permit stuff like that. So yeah, they take readily to these patterns. Um, with this one, I probably would have preferred to go with the orange eyes just to match this saddle a little bit better. But that or black, right? The green I would probably use on a different tones, but it's the way it is, right? Sometimes you got to just experiment and see what happens, right? So, alrighty. Hope you guys enjoyed that. And if you subscribed, awesome. If you haven't, why? And yeah, spread the word to your friends and let them know about the channel if you like it. And we'll see you guys on the very next tying video. Tie lines.